This week in Women in Sports, a first-time championship for the UCLA women. How a Minnesotan helped them secure the trophy. Plus, playoffs bound once again. How the Frost managed to defy the odds and prove why they are the back-to-back champions. And later, the Gopher gymnastics team pulls off a stunner, the gymnast that was the key to their success.
WCCO's Women in Sports, sponsored by Franson Bank and Trust.
Hello, thank you for joining us. I'm Susan Elizabeth Littlefield, in for my friend Marielle Mose this week. Here at WCCO, we are celebrating the highlights of female athletes in this digital segment called Women in Sports. We're going to share with you stories every week right here as we do our part to give these athletes the recognition they deserve. History was made in women's college basketball as UCLA took home its first NCAA championship. Gianna Neekins is a senior guard for UCLA. She grew up in Duluth. She put up 15 points for the Bruins as they shut down South Carolina. UCLA's coach spoke about her players and what they meant.
It's not about me. It's about watching these incredible young women be dream chasers, to watch them grow in ways that they will remember and it will stick with them for the rest of their lives.
Minnesota was represented with the runners-up. South Carolina, too. Tessa Johnson put up 14 points for the Gamecocks. She was a standout player at St. Michael Albertville High School. Could the Minnesota Frost become three-peat champions? After this week's game, they are one step closer. The Frost clinched a spot in the playoffs at home against Vancouver last Saturday night. Minnesota was behind for much of the game until they rallied to tie it with a goal by Taylor Heisey. In the end of the second period, that's when it happened. Kelly Panic scored the last two goals of the game. Final score, 6-5, Frost to win. Minnesota will host the New York Sirens this Saturday at 5 p.m. Good luck, ladies. Now to the tumbling gym, where the Gopher gymnastics team pulled off a stunner. Jordan Leiden's beam performance was just key to this. She registered an amazing 9.950, and the Gophers finished second in the regions, meaning they get to advance to the national championships with UCLA. Nationals begin next Thursday, April 16th, and they are set to take place in Fort Worth, Texas. The Minnesota Aurora and the Minneapolis Institute of Art have joined forces for a collaboration that really puts art in motion. Check out this season's jerseys. It's called the Flora Kit, inspired by nature. You have wildflowers, stars, and a beautiful dark blue palette. WCCO swung by the museum to chat with the head of design and editorial. He says, imagine you're up north at night. You see the shadows of the flowers and the stars above. That was the vision behind this chic creation.
We are, with this project, taking the art off the walls, taking the natural art in the world that inspires us every day and using that and placing that into a format that we can show that pride with and wear as much as we want.
Roger says working with the Aurora on this jersey was an honor. You can also sport the look. It's available for purchase right now. You'll find it on the team's website or at the museum gift shop. They start at $90 a pop. This week, we have a new episode of the Women in Sports podcast to check out. Our Marielle Mose caught up with well-known Timberwolves and Lynx broadcaster, Lea B. Olsen. The Minneapolis native has been doing game analysis and courtside reporting for hometown basketball teams for several decades. This summer, she is taking her talents to the entire WNBA, joining the USA Network broadcast team.
I'm just super excited to kind of be involved with a broadcast that is so big with so many national people, that with so much being put into it, because for so many years the WNBA broadcasts were kind of a second thought, and you got whoever and whoever was working on them, all of those things. So this is like, that has changed quite a bit. And so this is going to be a lot put into this. And it just feels so good to be able to think at the they're putting everything into this WNBA broadcast.
That's great. So it's not just this improvement we're seeing for the player pay equity. It's the whole package that's getting an improvement.
Lea also shares her insights on the upcoming Lynx season with free agency underway and the draft next week, her predictions on the roster shakeup. Catch that conversation on this week's episode of Women in Sports with Marielle Mose. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for watching this week's Women in Sports. I'm Susan Elizabeth Littlefield, and we'll be back with more great stories next week.